Well, hello everyone, Roberto here. Quite often in some songs we find the same chord repeated for several measures. When that happens, in order to make the situation more exciting, there are several possibilities. In this video, I am going to show you a very interesting and quite subtle way to add harmonic interest against static chords. We will be using these lines mostly in a jazz context, but you might find them quite familiar as they are often used in pop songs. So, let's get going!
Most chord shapes contain short but interesting melodic lines that might be used as alternative to a static chord played over more than a measure. Playing chromatic lines around the chord is extremely simple, as you will soon notice, but it adds indeed interest to an otherwise repetitive situation. Let's start with a simple A minor bar chord on the 5th fret, with finger on 5, 7, 7, 5, 5, 5, playing all strings. If this chord should appear for more than one bar, you might want to move one voice within the chord, in this case the octave, in a descending motion. First to the major 7th, and then to the minor 7th. The resulting chords are respectively A minor major, and A minor 7. Let's try the same idea with a different chord. We choose this time a C minor, fingered 3, 5, 5, 4 on the inner strings, and then move the octave note descending as before, but this time one step more, past the C minor 7, so that we obtain a C minor 6th on 3, 5, 2, 4. This position might be a bit challenging to finger at first, so you might want to try a bit harder to make it sound right. This is a great sounding shape. The same movement works for a major chord as well. Let's play a C major on the mid 4 strings, 3, 5, 5, 5. Following the same idea as for the minor chord, we move the octave C 1/2 step back to obtain a C major 7. Then, by lifting the second finger, we get a C7. Those of you familiar with the Beatles song Something by George Harrison might recall this chord sequence. The last position, C6, requires a little stretch, so practice it a bit until you find it comfortable. Let's have a look at the same descending chromatic line from the root to the 6th on a G major chord, fingered 3 on the low E string, A string muted, and then 5, 4, 3. This shape has the root on the chord in the low E, while the other 3 fingers describe a G major triad. We move on the octave backwards, descending in semitones, so that from G major we go through G major 7, then G7, and finally we complete the progression with a G6 chord, 3. Notice the first and second finger switching position to finger the chord very easily. Notice how well this line works against the sound of a static G major chord. Chords don't need to be played with a root on the bass all the time. A triad is a 3-note chord. We have the root, the 3rd and the 5th. Each one of these notes can be placed in the low end of the chord. Let's see what happens if we place the third in the bass, in this case B, the third note in the scale of G. We find the note B along the low E string, and we can use the following chord: 7, muted A string, 5, 7, 8. This is a G major with the third on the bass. We might call it G over B. From this first shape, we now play the descending sequence as we've done so far. The line moving is again the root of the chord, which on this shape is on the higher note. By moving the pinky back 1/2 step, we get the G major 7 over B. At this point, to achieve the G dominant 7, we must switch the position of the fingers. And we continue to a G6 by simply lifting the second finger and bar the finger on the 5th fret. Let's now see what happens if we place the 5th on the bass. In the key of G, the 5th note is D. We can run our finger on the 6th string from B to find the note D on fret 10, and then take the following shape: 10, muted A string, 9 and 12. As you can see, this is a 3-note shape and might sound a bit muddy at times, but also has some sort of pleasant roundness. The note that moves in order to play the descending sequence is still the root, which we find on the D string. We move a semitone down to a G major 7 over D, then to a G7 over D, and finally to a G6 over D. Finger 10, muted A, 9, 9. It is also possible to play the same series of chromatic lines ascending towards the root, instead of descending, as we've done so far. Let's begin with a C major with root on the low E, 8th fret. So we have 8, the A string is muted, 5, 9. It is not easy at first, but it would be a good exercise for your fingers. The note on the D string is the 5th of the chord, and we will move chromatically upwards until the root. So the next chord is C augmented, by simply moving the first finger up half a step. The next position is a C sixth. Then we switch fingers to play a C7. The next chord is a C major 7, and the sequence then closes with a C major. Let's try this time with a C minor triad. 8, muted A string, 5, 8. Once again we move up in half steps, while the other two fingers stay in their respective places. The next chord is a C minor augmented, followed by a C minor sixth, then a C minor 7, and we end with a C minor major 7th. As a curiosity, if you play the first 3 chords of this sequence up and then back down again, you will discover the sound of the famous 007 theme.
I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I do suggest for all of you to add these concepts to your bag of tricks. Thank you very much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe to Guitar Avenues. More good stuff is coming up. Take care, and as always, rock on, keep on rolling is the message. Take care, guys.